Welcome, everyone, to the Around the Ballpark Live. We are live. It is Sunday, October the 13th, and we are here. My name is Mike Redmond, of course, alongside my brother, Darren Redmond, and we are the guests tonight. We chose tonight with the New York Mets making the postseason. We are now not in the wild card round, not in the divisional round, but we are in the National League Championship Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we thought tonight that game is just about to start. We'd come on for a little bit here at the start of that game and just have fun with it, answer any questions that come through on the chat, and just have some fun little banter, all things New York Mets and Dodgers. So Darren, any place you want to start with this? As I know, just sending the link out, so I'm sure a few people will hop on here. So if you have an early question or thing you want to start with, I'm all for it.
Here's what I want to start with. I want to start with something that shouldn't keep people up at night, but on occasion does. And that's this. You can't fully enjoy the Mets beating the Dodgers in this round of the playoffs and then going on to win the World Series, as they will. If you feel like you have tax problems, right? So, but if you have tax troubles, Nashville Tax Solutions has you covered. Whether you're behind on your returns, you're facing a lien, you just need expert advice, or if you're a Phillies fan, boo-hoo, a Braves fan, boo-hoo, or you just need that expert advice, their team is ready to help. Hear what some clients have to say. And they send emails in or messages, and they all talk about the fact that Chris Bennett and his team saved them from financial nightmares. They are knowledgeable, they're clear, they're compassionate, and they listen. Because no two tax problems are the same. They're always unique, just as you are as an individual. So don't let taxes stress you out. Reach out to Nashville Tax Solutions today. Call 615-502-2250. Visit NashvilleTaxSolutions.com or just email at info@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com. Nashville Tax Solutions, where tax resolution is achieved.
Thank you, Darren. And as always, we say this every time, and a sincere thank you to the team at Nashville Tax Solutions and Chris Bennett. Looking forward to be getting together with you soon and just some fellowship and just to thank you in person for all that you do for this podcast, believing in the podcast. And as we sit currently, we are actually sitting at just over 1,200 subscribers, which is amazing. The growth that we've had, over 60 watch hours this month. That is awesome. It's a tribute to you guys and done some fun things. Those of you that checked out the channel yesterday, we got the opportunity to go, and my wife Eileen and I, with the two children, we went to the UCF college football game up against Cincinnati in person. Got to make that drive down there. Such an awesome experience. Although they didn't come out with a win and the offense was a little sluggish, it's always a great time. You can't have a bad time going to a UCF game. The weather was actually in the 70s for us. That was amazing. It felt that's our version of the fall. It's 78 degrees. We will take it.
Now you're bragging.
Yeah, that's right. And so just those that have had that opportunity to go to a college football game, I highly, highly encourage. Even if you think it's not your thing, you'll leave with a different opinion after that experience. So, but want to thank all of you guys for watching alongside of us as you continue to share that we're live with friends and family and whatnot. See a few of you watching now. Go ahead and throw up thumbs up in chat. Any questions that you have for us? It's just us tonight. We thought let's just have fun and have some fun baseball banter and just talk a little bit about this series coming up and any questions you guys have related to this or not, we'll try to get them answered and whatnot. So, but yeah, so I thought let's dive into a little bit. So Darren, I want to get your thoughts on this game's about to start here in just a few minutes. What are your thoughts on the game one starter for New York Mets, the decision to start Senga here? Some can say David Peterson, his role is perfect. Like, I love having two starters in our bullpen. Feels like he should get an opportunity to start as well, but I do kind of like this start. But again, with him only going to 2 to 3 innings, what are your thoughts on that? Is he going to go a little bit longer? Who's going to relieve him? That sort of thing.
I think he will go no more than, even if he's pitching very, very well, 4 innings, 5 innings. I think that this will be a bullpen by committee kind of game, started by committee kind of game, with what should be your best starter rounding into shape. I think what happens is he gives us 4 to 5 quality innings, and then when he pitches the clincher, and he will, I think he goes as long as he can, because I think you do not move Peterson. This is Sid Fernandez 2.0. This is the starter who can shut you down. We are living in a world now where Edwin Diaz doesn't care what inning he goes in. Nobody cares what inning they go in. They don't care what position they play. This is team baseball the way I absolutely love it. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with the Dodgers. They're going to look to jump out early. I think the Dodgers are bullies. I think that they're in for an awakening with the Mets. The Mets are not going to back down to them.
Yeah. Now, are you worried at all because the Mets have been MLB's hottest team since early June? Are you worried at all about the 3 days off here? I'm not. I mean, because you look at a team, the Mets, as much as we love the Mets, they're not a team that are going to jump on you in the first inning. They typically pace themselves, and I'd love to see that, but typically they know when to strike, and when they strike hard and they strike efficiently. But any concern with that, or not so much?
So it's very interesting because they have been playing with momentum. They have been playing with inertia, right? The body at rest stays at rest, the body in motion stays in motion. And they have been feeding off of those endorphins. Well, one of the big ways that you can stop those endorphins is starting at home. We saw that in '86 after the big Houston series. They lost the first 2 games at home. They rallied. I think the fact that they had to travel, they had to stay on cues, they had to go to deadlines, they had to, bus and plane reservations and check it into hotels. I think that's a good thing, because when you allow yourself to rest, you know how it is. You allow yourself to rest, it's tough to get started again. And I think the Dodgers are in a disadvantage. They had a very tough series against the Padres. They have people around the house making phone calls. You and I interview enough former athletes at this point to say it's tough. Hey, can I have a couple tickets? This is going on. Sometimes you're better off on the road.
Yeah, I agree. And because, again, those don't know, all we need to do here is win one of the 2. We'll take the both, but we just need the one. First question that came through, the mayor of Palm Bay joining us, Rob Medina, asked, would you say Iglesias stirs the drink for the Mets? So I'll go first on that one. I feel like it's one of those seasons where there's so many pieces to the puzzle, and it just feels like this is the year. Starting, of course, with Grimace and OMG and stuff. But I do feel that I'm happy to see. I know Jeff McNeil is now cleared, maybe the ALDS roster or ALCS roster. But I do love the fact that Iglesias, while batting 7th tonight, not 5th, which I think will be fine for him. But I do like to see that he's still in the lineup. I do feel like he is the caveat for the Mets. He is somebody that has to be in this lineup, regardless of what he does. He's the guy you want up. If you need a base hit, he's still the guy. I know he had a little bit of a down ALD or NLDS, but what are your thoughts on that?
A couple of things. One, hello, Mayor, and thank you for everything that you do for Palm Bay. And the Yankees will go to the World Series. They will beat the Guardians in 5. So here's what I think. I think that, Jeff, you had to put McNeil on the team. I think you had to do that because, who's better, him or Acevedo? I mean, it's not him and Iglesias. Iglesias not only stirs the drink, but he does it musically. He's a vibe. And a vibe is an important thing. I'm a big intangibles. Like people talk about at work, I'm sorry to sound like I'm going on tangents, I'm not. Talk about soft skills, right? I mean, you're a leader. You're a leader in church. You're a leader in life, right, Mike? That being a leader isn't just here's what you do. It's an intangible. It's a vibe, making people feel happy, safe, secure. I mean, and that's a vibe that he brings. So I think he'll continue to start. I can't keep saying Ken. I think McNeil comes off the bench. I think he's a positive vibe there too. He's going to have a lot. He's going to have a lot to prove. And he's going to want to get in that lineup. And I think I use that wanting to get in that lineup to my advantage.
Yes, I agree. And Tom Redmond, someone we know pretty well. Good guy. Tom Redmond, he's a good guy. Good guy.
Yeah.
Solid.
He's solid's the word.
Yes, solid.
Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday around for all the Redmonds.
Yeah.
But it says that if we can get 4 to 5 good innings out of Senga, we can win game 1 if we can split. But I think tonight's the key. We got to hit and get some good pitching. So I agree, of course. One thing, they just showed a stat here on the screen. The Dodgers have 25 consecutive, or 24, almost 25 now, consecutive scoreless pitching streak going on here. Just struck out Mark Vientos. So that's amazing in itself. But the Mets do need to come out firing on all cylinders, and because the crowd's going to be hot, especially the bottom of the first inning. So spot on there. Marianne, let's go Mets. Another Redmond that I think is pretty solid. Heather, thank you for joining us as well, Heather. And Mike Clark, something that Rob touched on, Iglesias brings a certain fire. He really does. I do feel like I think Mark Vientos, to me, it's, who could have known that he's got the offense? I would have loved to see from start of April to now to see what he could have done, put up offensive wise. But it almost doesn't matter at this point. Like, okay, so we went with Beatty, didn't work out. Vientos should have been the guy. Okay, well, now we know. I love him in the 2 spot. I feel like he's just someone that just is going to get on base almost every time. I know he got out here to start the game, but man, is that guy good? Someone that feels like he's been there before and he hasn't. That's just awesome. Your thoughts on Mark, Darren?
I think he is a third baseman for a long time, unless he goes to first next year if Pete leaves, Pumpkin Pete leaves. But we'll talk about that at another time. I think if Beatty will be on this team as well. I think we have a very strong team. I think I'm not that concerned even about this game. I want the game, don't get me wrong, I want it desperately. But I'll sleep like a baby if we lose this game and nobody gets injured, because I think we take this serious. I think we can come back. I think we can win Game 7 in Dodger Stadium. We've done it before. We did it in 2015.
Yep.
I was there for the first game. I was there for the Daniel Murphy game. I was sitting up in the kind of behind home plate, way up top.
Yep. And another friend of the show, our sponsor, Christopher Bennett, is joining us as well. So Subway Series 2024. Why not, right? Hard to believe. Now, it makes you feel a little old. 24 years ago now. Remember, it was just like yesterday. But, it's kind of ironic when, obviously we know now the Yankees will go on to play the Guardians, but it's kind of ironic because the last 2 teams that have played the Mets in the World Series have been the Royals and the Yankees. And so Yankees get that win, and so that series starts tomorrow. But and Mike had just mentioned, the play here, Nimmo was just up, and shortstop had played him perfectly. Yep, saw that. So going to the bottom of the first inning, and that top of the lineup, I don't know if there's ever been a stronger top of the lineup than what the Dodgers have going right now. With that said, though, I mean, if that's a thing, like, I don't know if you feel the same way, Darren, but like I do have a little anxiety. I get a little neurotic sometimes, bite my nails, get a little worried. But even the game they were down 2-0 going into the top of the 9th, I just felt like they're going to do it. Like, I'm at peace until that third out's recorded. I'm not. No, don't get me wrong. I'd love to avoid that. I don't want to see that all the time.
Me too. Don't get me wrong.
But I guess the best way to put it is my anxiety is higher with Edwin Diaz coming in with a 3-run lead than it is the Mets down 2 in the top of the 9th inning.
Ooh,
it sounds weird.
I like the way you put that. Yeah. And it's not that I've been a Met fan so long and the jinx. I don't believe in jinxes. But there's a part of me that I don't like when my team scores early and then goes to sleep for a couple innings. Don't get me wrong. I'd love an 8-0 first inning. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But sometimes they're like, oh, we got 2 runs. We got this game. No, I like fight. every half inning, fight every inning, fight every 3 inning, fight the game. And then good things happen. What the Mets have been doing right now is just holding serve until they get into the other team's bullpen, and then they just kick ass.
Yeah.
Or tush.
And yes, right. And the one thing with the start times too, I think I mentioned this once before, but these games, I love what starting now. It's 8:50 or 8:23. They're at the bottom of the first inning, and everybody seems to fall asleep by 9-10 o'clock around here. And so that's that quiet celebration. Like, it is hard on a Sunday night. You're not going to go to a watch party most likely if you got work the next day and whatnot. But so it is hard to celebrate in quiet for sure. But I'm grateful that I have a lot of Met fans that I can text back and forth with. At least it's not the same as high-fiving somebody, high-fiving the clouds, but it's still enjoyable. And there's a lot of other really good things on tonight, but this is 100% my focus. So, and shout out to a few of you in the chat as well that I've had to reach out by actually calling on recent weeks when the Met games are on in the 8th, 9th inning, and I have to go pick my son up from work, and so I don't have access to what's going on. And so if I've called you, I appreciate you answering and talking me through what was going on. Otani just got recorded the first out, so that's a good thing.
So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about Game 7 or a deciding game. All right, so that's separate. But if you find yourself that you can't get access to your phone, and you can't watch the game, are you a stress ball? Are you at peace?
I feel like I've gotten better at that. I get neurotic about certain things, but I'm okay. Because I would love nothing more to get the radio feed or just some kind of feed. So if I call someone, they don't answer, I'll be okay. I'll check the score. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better in that regard. Although there is some things, it was kind of funny. Like today, for example, Tampa Bay Buccaneers were up 17-0, and we turned the television on, and Eileen knows I was the superstition, like, oh, turn the game on, they start losing. It wasn't 2.5 minutes later where it was 19-17 or 20-17 Saints. I was like, what's going on here? We had a lead, we had a lunch to go to, and we checked the score, and all of a sudden it was like 52-23 or something like that. I was like, so see, we're not watching it, and they do good. So sometimes there are those superstitions, it gets in your head.
We all have them, all right? So we might not believe in them, but we have modes of everyday life that just feel comfortable when I'm watching the game. How's that? Or not watching the game. I prefer to. What's going on? I see you looking. What's the update?
The update. Mookie Betts just went to first base, but comment in the chat. Senga just told Betts, "Get off my plate." But so Betts is on one with one out with Freddie Freeman coming up. So
all right.
Yeah. So we shall see there.
All right.
And starting with the Los Angeles Dodgers too, a lot of pitching injuries and whatnot seems to be a common thread. We knew with Glasnow when he signed with them, hated to see him leave Tampa, but he is someone unfortunately that is injury prone. So kind of saw that one coming. But you mentioned the Dodger fans being a little bit of bullies. We had that incident when they played San Diego and the ball being tossed on the field and that whole mess. That's just something we should never have to see. And seeing the Dodger players really they even were like, come on, can we get on with the game here? So it's unfortunate and feels like that's a common thread. That's the one ballpark where I'm not sure you want to go wearing other teams' colors in the stadium. That's not,
It's a shame too, because it's a beautiful stadium, and they need to understand that much like when you went to Boston, it was such a wonderful experience. And in Chicago, except if you try to catch a ball, I guess you get in trouble. Do you understand when you are in one of these beautiful parks that are tourist attractions, there's going to be people wearing different colors. They're not going to, as long as they're respectful, let them enjoy the game. Mm-hmm. Just let them enjoy. Somebody worked 2 or 3 extra shifts to get those tickets, and you're going to get offended because they're wearing a Pittsburgh Pirate hat? I mean, grow up. Just grow up.
Yeah, it kind of took me back to the Seinfeld episode where Elaine's wearing the Baltimore Orioles cap, sitting second
Right.
row, and they ask her to take the cap off, and it's like, no, I'm not taking the cap off.
No. Did you? No.
No. Question in the chat that came through, sidebar from tonight's game, but a great question, relevant. What do you think the Rays will do with the stadium? Maybe leave the roof off. I know there's a lot of memes out there right now. That the Rays have a new retractable roof.
Right.
But for backstory, when Minnesota had 3 years left remaining at the Metrodome before they moved, they had a similar, obviously not hurricane, but similar situation where they lost the roof, and that cost them $15.1 million to repair. They did the repair. They have a little bit more money than Tampa does. Did the repair, but 3 years later, they knew they were already going to a new stadium, but still spent the $15 million. There are a lot of options on the table. I still feel like that's going to be where they play. They do have some other options. There's the Al Lang Stadium, which they actually hold the rights to, or they own that property. They could go to Port Charlotte.
That used to be the Mets spring training facility,
Yeah, definitely. And another walk by Senga, unfortunately, to Freeman. So now you got 2 runners on with Hernandez coming out. But yeah, so I think there's a couple options on the table. I personally feel like they're gonna stay where they stay put just because that new stadium is coming. But if they do go to a minor league stadium for a little bit and fill the place up, I'm not going to hate that either. Bring them to Orlando. Bring them to Wide World of Sports Complex. That would be amazing.
That would be great.
Yeah. Mention maybe Raymond James. That could be. It's tough because a lot of times these stadiums, they rent out other people to come. They do whether it's a monster truck show or whatever, and the field gets scuffed up and things like that. So I don't know, that's another option. I think there's probably meetings to be had to say, hey, the goal is to get us ready, but if not, what can we do? But I always thought Orlando would be a great location for Tampa. We know that they're going to be staying put and have a new stadium in 2027, I believe. 27, yeah, I think that's what it is. But we shall see. My vote is they'll stay where they are, but I don't know if that's the best. Does that mean they're going to trade away a lot of their players to make the money to fix the repairs? I hope not, because although Tampa finished below standards, I feel like they fire sailed a little bit too early this year and could have potentially still made the playoffs of that second wild card had they not folded as early as they did and traded almost everybody. Now, not that anyone that got traded really blew it out of the park or their new destination, but still, I feel like they had another week or two to make that decision. But yeah, I like what Mike says in the chat. They could play at Disney. I think that would be an awesome. Why not?
I agree. I think that would be great. Why not?
Yep.
They can charge premium price. They will.
Yep.
People go to Disney. They know they have to spend money. It makes a lot of sense to go there. They're gonna have there's insurance on that roof, obviously. So. They just have to weigh all that out. What's going on? I see you looking. That doesn't look like a good look in your face.
Another four pitch walk.
Bases loaded?
Yeah, so bases are loaded with 1 out. And now they're coming to speak to Senga. So not ideal. So we'll see what happens. They're showing his injury that he had. But so not the way you want to start, but it's only the first inning. But
when Lindor hit that grand slam, Senga was a frightened soul in that dugout. You see that photo?
Yes.
He's probably feeling like you're at Dodger Stadium, my friend, and he's in the playoffs. This is the real deal. So get through, give up 2-3 runs, get through it. Mets come back, they still win.
Yeah. And again, as bad as this is, it's double play. We're out of the inning.
Yep.
Your thoughts on, so one thing, again, we'll talk about the bullying and stuff, and we're not hating on the Dodgers, even though we are Mets fans, but the Kiki Hernandez interview the other day, just awful, because he specifically asked, are we live? And we're not going to repeat, we are a PG show. I'm not going to repeat the words he used. Wasn't user friendly. Let's just say that. But your thoughts on that? I thought that was highly inappropriate.
Very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Show some class, show some professionalism. I mean, I'm not the old guy yelling at clouds. I'm all for people being happy and joyful and being me. But you see Lindor after he hit that grand slam?
Yeah. You would have never known that it was a grand slam, biggest moment of the season. He's just like, yep, it's no big deal. I'm sure on the inside he was screaming, but I feel like on the outside it was like, hey, I'm the leader of this team.
Yep.
This game's not over yet. I'm gonna subdue it, and then at the end, he let loose and stuff like that. But he wears that captain proudly. Pop out to center field, and the runner did not score. I was shocked because it was Mookie Betts, but the Taylor's throw came in firing, and so did not advance the runner. So bases loaded, 2 outs now for Max Muncy. So see what happens here.
More work to do.
Yep, more work to do there. Yep. And but yeah, class looked back, and I don't know if he was fined any kind of money. Something should happen at least.
It's disgusting and it's unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good word. Yeah,
be a pro.
Yep, absolutely. And what do you call it? Now, how do you think the rest of this? I haven't peeked, but how do you feel the rest of this rotation for the Mets is going to go out? Because I saw something that said they showed the top 10 starting pitchers for this series, and 4 of them were New York Mets starters, not named Senga, which is kind of ironic. But how do you see the rotation going from here on out, from the rest of the way?
I have stopped worrying about what Mendoza does, because he seems to know that locker room and he knows that staff, and he's been pushing all the right buttons. So it looks good to me.
So what happened? Day by day. Yeah. Oh, just a high pitch, nothing too crazy, but it could have been worse. But I'd like to see Alvarez do a little bit more from the plate, or a lot more from the plate. But on the defensive side, he's stopping some great ones. And the base hit to center field, and 2 runs just come in. So it is now.
I told you it'd be 2 runs.
Yeah, it is now 2-0 Dodgers. Bottom 1. So
we would have liked 0. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
2 is, listen, if you can't score 2 runs, you're not going to win a ball game anyway. Let's just 1-0. So It doesn't matter. Wake up, people. Don't be nervous, Nellies. Let's go.
Yeah. Now, what I would like to see is, I'm confident, even if it's the 7th inning, it's the 7th inning. But I would like to see a receipt here in the bottom, or in the top of the second. Just something get to do, even if it's just a leadoff double. Just something showing, hey, we're not laying down, even though it's 2-0. But it's a shame. I think Senga would be. It's easy to overreact on a 2-0, but again, he gave up that leadoff home run to Kyle Schwarber and settled down for the 2 innings he was in after that. So it's still very early, so no reason to panic. So comments is glad to see Senga cover home plate on the block pitch that got away until Diaz, unlike Diaz, not covering first in the wild card game. That was rough to watch.
True. Yeah, that
really was.
But you know what? In a weird way, that was beneficial to us, because I think that embarrassment woke up Diaz, because he was a much more effective pitcher after that happened.
Yeah, because see that, and that's the thing with Diaz. Like he makes you nervous or whatnot, but he's still, like he could load the bases and strike 3 people out, and it wouldn't surprise me. It's just that your elevated heart rate when that happens. Like, does it have to be this way every time? Can I just, go easy into the night? Oh, geez. Okay. It was a hit to the pitcher. I was like, oh, please don't hurt yourself again. So 3 outs.
3 outs.
So
all right, good.
2, yeah.
2-0. So, now listen, you could be a negative person and say, we got out Ohtani and we still let up 2 runs. Boo boo. We weren't going to shut him out, most likely. If we can hold them to 3 runs or less in this game, we should win it. We should score at least more than 2 runs. Come on, look how powerful this offense is. And we just do the best we can.
Yeah.
Let's steal this win.
With Alvarez's offensive woes, like, because of his, he's not throwing runners out at second base, but he's stopping the balls in the dirt, calling good games. Torrens is just kind of sitting there. Is there ever a scenario where Torrens gets the start over Alvarez, or do you feel like they're just like he's gonna figure this thing out eventually?
I think that is probably a very, very, very wonderful question that most people wouldn't ask. I think that's a great question. Seriously, I do. I think what Mendoza is going to do is find a reason to make that defensive replacement 6th or 7th inning because he can't. I think if he takes Alvarez out right now, he shows that he's panicking. And the kid is, and he's a young kid. He's going to go into a shell. But I think if he can, 7th inning, they're 1 or 2 runs behind, because I think, why not? I mean, Alvarez is hitting like nothing. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat that was in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, right now, that's exactly it. And this is a guy that should be 5. Like, we look at this with this lineup today: Marte 5 and Winker 6. It should be Alvarez 5, but right now he's 9, and he's not not a guaranteed out, but it's just that none of his things look good. So hopefully he can get that figured out sooner than later, for sure. But again, we mentioned it was nice to see New York get those home games last series. I think it was 13 consecutive days not being at home and whatnot. But we're set up now for the 2-3-2. It was nice to see the Mets get to clinch in their own stadium. That was awesome.
Hold on a second. 6th inning or the 7th? Okay, let's make it a little more difficult question. 6th. I'm just going to give you your question right back to you. Mets are behind by 2 runs. You either need a rally or you need a big hit. Are you putting in McNeil to pinch hit for Alvarez and the Torrens finish the rest of the game?
I think 8th inning, yes. 6th inning, no.
7th inning.
You know what? I think in LA, yes. In New York, no.
I like that answer. Answer.
And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Now, most people like McNeil, like, because he's the way he is, right? He's still, to me though, like someone who maybe a little bit over the top, but I feel like he would get in the box and not swing at the first pitch. Like, I feel like he would still be strategic at the plate, and he's a guy where when he was in there, even if he was 0 for 4, there's a good period of time where he's the guy that you want up. Now I loved seeing what's going on with Iglesias, but like I said, I do like having that bat off the bench. It's a little bit more difficult with the DH to try to figure out when you're going to maneuver the bench and whatnot like that. But I think his presence is definitely gonna help out here.
He won a batting title. He's not garbage.
That's right. Yeah. I know a lot of panic on him, ready to ship him off to Boston and all that stuff, but not quite. So Pete leads off with a strikeout. Unfortunately, that's something too common, but what do you call it? Marte is somebody who's stepping up to the plate now. Marte has really stepped it up here in the first season. Love to see that. Question that came in the chat, just a sidebar, as Marte steps up. Do you guys think they will let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame now that he has passed away? Is it too late? I think the ship has sailed on that one. I think maybe a different commissioner in a different time that said, oh, if it was me, I would have put him in all along. But as long as we have the commissioner we have, I don't think that's even going to be a discussion. But what are your thoughts on that?
It's a hot topic for me. You're not supposed to bet on baseball. I know that. I also know that there are people who beat their wives, beat their significant others, commit crimes, do all sorts of things, who are in the Hall of Fame, racist. I think that they wanted him to beg, and he didn't beg. He said he finally did admit that he did gamble on baseball. He did say he was sorry, but they wanted him to beg, and he never did that, and they let that happen to him. They gave him that lifetime ban. My hope is now that he's dead, that they will allow him in, and then I hope his family says, we're not showing up, take a hike.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's well said for sure. I think that it's separate conversations. Does he deserve to be, that sort of stuff? I think the answer to will they? No. Unfortunately, will I be upset if they do? I think yes, only not because of what he did, but because of what they're, obviously, like what they just had a revelation. Oh yeah, he was good. Let's put him in now. I think, fortunately, his ship has sailed on that one. But
I mean, how do you put him on the field as one of the 700 most greatest living players of all time and earn all that marketing money from that, the eyeballs, because they knew Pete Rose was coming, but yet not put him in the Hall?
Yeah.
I mean, we're living in a fantasy world, pretending that he doesn't have the most hits. So we're playing let's pretend.
Yeah. And, imagine for a second trying to explain to somebody, oh yeah, the Hall of Fame, that means that it is the best of the best. Why isn't Pete Rose in there? Well, okay, well, why isn't Barry Bonds in there? Well, why isn't Mark McGwire in there? Well, etc. down the list. We get it, should there be a separate wing? That's a conversation that's happened many, many times, maybe. But it's a tough thought. I mean, there's people that have gotten in that really may have no business being have gotten in too short of a career. And it's tough because, like, for example, Joe Mauer. No disrespect, we've had conversations, and should he be a Hall of Famer? Maybe, maybe not. But should he be a Hall of Famer and Pete Rose not? Absolutely not. So it's tough. And it was mentioned here in the chat that he did wrote a letter in March begging the commissioner for forgiveness. One last request to be on the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So,
and here's another thing too, people. And for those of you who are, he bet on baseball, Black Sox, there's a huge difference. And I don't need to get into it because I have a lot of history work with people with addiction. You cannot compare addiction to taking a payout. They took the 1918 White Sox scandal, took a payoff. They were paid by mobsters. That's totally different than somebody who, unfortunately, is addicted to gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, when there's so much gambling going on to begin with major leagues, sponsored by Get Your Better Now. Well, who had Pete Alonso striking out? You could parlay that. Stop. Grow up.
Right?
Thank you.
Yes. You speak it. Yes.
Sorry. I'm passionate about it.
That's great. And man, I think now who and it was Todd Helton, I think, was the other one recently, which a little bit more deserving than Joe Mauer, in my opinion, for sure. Does he belong? Probably. He's, maybe at the bottom tier of who's in there, but I think so. The game's commercial now going to bottom two. Now, who do you feel has the advantage here in this 7-game series in terms of strength of lineup and rotation depth? What was your take on that?
I think the Mets have better pitching. I think the Dodgers have a better lineup. I think this is going to be dynamite series. I think the Mets are a little better defensively. And I want to say that the Dodgers are better coached. And that's no disrespect to Mendoza. I'm saying because I don't know. I know Dave Roberts has been here before, both as a player and as a coach. I'm hoping Mendoza outcoaches Dave Roberts. I'm going to be very interested to see that.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Starting bottom two now, Gavin Lux is up facing Senga, 24 pitches. So like we talked about at the beginning, not sure the pitch count he'll be on, but I imagine that I would feel better with Tyler McGill coming in, like to save Peterson a little bit, but depends on where they are in the game. Yeah. Now, are you at all, like, obviously, so if the rotation goes, it doesn't really matter, but if it does go Senga, Minaya, Severino, Quintana, like, do you feel like Peterson and McGill should be I understand when Peterson did it in the first round, it made sense because he had just pitched and he was available. But are you at all surprised that when they moved on to those series, they didn't say, hey, insert him into rotation here? Do you feel like that's because they feel the other four a little bit stronger? Or do you feel like, hey, we're not really that confident in our bullpen right now? Maybe a reason why Adam Ottavino did not make the NLDS roster. But do you feel like that Peterson should be in that starting rotation because he's as good as he is? Or are you happy with the position, like having that peace of mind, like, hey, there's somebody in the bullpen that can go 5 innings?
It's very hard to get a player that is comfortable being a starter or a reliever. And Peterson said in the post-game interview when they had champagne being poured over his head, he doesn't care, give me the ball. So I'm going to keep him there because he's going to have no problems cleaning up the mess that may happen.
Yeah, well said. I think he is a lot of guys you're like, oh, no, he's coming. Oh, no, he's coming. There's not a lot of guys in the Mets bullpen right now. We're like, okay, feeling good about this. And so I definitely have much more peace with when you have two legit starters that could pitch game 1 and game 2 for them if need be. Interesting bunt by Edman here to get the runner over to 2. So 1 out. Pitch clock violation prior to that. So gotta love that. Mike says 23 pitches, 7 strikes. Not ideal. But again, Senga, he can make the case. Obviously he pitched in 1 game this season. Should he be there? Should he not be? I feel like what he did last year, he I think has earned the right to get a few innings here and there, and we'll see what happens. I'm not hating it. I would love to see him go 4 with just those 2 runs. That would be ideal. So see what happens. But now you had mentioned earlier, you said Yankees, base hit to right field by Ohtani. It is now 3-0. Ohtani on first. So with 1 out. So unfortunately, Mets are down to 3. Yep.
This will be his last inning.
Yeah. They're just seeing it right. They're seeing the ball too good right now. So unfortunately. But anyways, with the Yankees Guardians series, I know you mentioned Yankees in 5. Cleveland surprised a lot of people this season. I was surprised that they got past the Tigers, especially when they got 2-1. So with your projection to be a 5-game series, do you still feel it to be a competitive series, or do you feel a little bit one-sided?
No. It's going to be one-sided.
Okay. And is it just the inexperience, you think, or just the lineup for Yankees is too strong?
The Yankees got through the Royals with Aaron Judge not looking good at all. Mm-hmm. Aaron Judge hasn't even played well yet, and he will.
Yeah. And what's interesting with the American League, back in mid-August, those of you that were kind of following along on a little bit, the Baltimore Orioles, the Minnesota Twins, and the Kansas City Royals were playing out of their mind. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like all 3 teams at once kind of started collapsing. And 2 got in, 1 did not. Minnesota did not get in. But it did feel like when you saw that Orioles-Royals series, it was almost like, okay, well, it worked out that they're playing each other, but the one team that makes it past the other is not going to make it out of the next round. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But Bobby Witt will be back many more times than he won't be. He is a dynamic player.
Oh, he's a great player.
Maybe outside of Ohtani, not someone, and he's a DH even. So he's someone you'd want to start your team with, obviously. So, but he'll be back. It was still a year too soon. But yeah, I agree. I could see, I could see the Guardians being a little bit more competitive than you think. But I think the 5 games is probably accurate. I think Yankees win the first 2. I think they definitely go up 2-0 before they go back to Cleveland. But that's just me. Those in the chat that are still with us, if you want to, your thoughts on that series. But again, like Darren pointed out at the beginning here, it's 3-0. It's still not time to panic. We'll see what happens. Still a lot of baseball to be played, and a lot of dynamic players in this Mets lineup. So
Mets win this game 7-5. How's that?
7-5. Okay. And again, that could mean 4-1 in the bottom of the top of the 8th inning, and that's okay. They are getting the timely hitting. Remember, early on the season, I think it was, if it was Keith or not that said it, but they were 0-5 and they were hitless through 7. I think they had just finished playing Detroit or something. And it felt like it was as bad as it can get. And then we are early May and they had the 4th worst record in baseball.
Yep.
And then the situation happened with Lopez throwing his glove into the crowd and all those shenanigans. And then all of a sudden, Lindor holds a team meeting and they have the best record in baseball ever since. And so I feel like they have the confidence, like, okay, well, yeah, we don't want to be down 3-0 in the second inning in our first game of the NLDS, but this is a 7-game series, not a 3-game series, not a 5-game series.
Yes. So it's funny. This is the adult series, right? Getting into the playoffs to me is like, hey, kid, you can come to the conference, right? Winning getting past the wild card and winning the division series is sort of like, hey, you get to stay for the autograph session in the back, right? I mean, you kind of feel a little better about it, right? I made the playoffs, but now I really made the playoffs. Now you're in the division series, you get to go to the after party with the band. That's where you are now. You know, and then you go to World Series, you're actually traveling with the band. You get to interview them. I mean, so right now you feel good about where you are. More work to do. You got 7 games. You only have to win 4. You stink. They should have did that. It's all right. Even if you lose the game, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Please, my gosh.
Oh, I know. I mean, the toxic world of now. I am a big fan of X. I do like getting instant feedback, especially if there's no one around to talk to at the moment. I'm a big wrestling fan. I like watching the big match, seeing what's going on, and then just going on X to see what people thought about it. But you have to, when you go on X, you're going to see a lot of keyboard warriors that are in basements typing things that they are too afraid to say to somebody's face. And so they're just going to type these words that are, whatever. And so you just kind of have to have that soft skin and know, like, okay, it's not something to worry myself about.
If I may paraphrase the Bible, I am going to wipe the sand off my shoes and keep on walking. Those keyboard warriors, they just want attention.
Yeah, and that's all it is. They need to say that thing that's going to make someone go, oh, okay, that's outside the box. Now you're hooked.
Yeah.
It's like that article where it's like completely, oh, that was interesting. Uh-oh.
What happened?
So Ohtani tried to steal second base. I think he got in there, but then he slid off the base and they tagged him. It looked like he hit his head a little bit, but it's okay. They're seeing if they want to challenge the play. Let's take a look here. So, yeah, definitely looked like we got him before. When we tagged him, he knocked his helmet off his head. Let's take a look. Yeah. Alvarez is fired up. Yeah, so they're not challenging the play. So inning over, going top 3 now, 3-0.
I'll take it.
So, yep.
Hey, listen, I know you know Met history, don't you?
Yes.
Game 7, Mets Red Sox. Who's trailing 3-0?
See, it broke up just a little bit when you're.
I said Game 7, Mets Red Sox. What team was trailing 3-0?
Game set. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was New York. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
6th inning, turned around, Lee Mazzilli, base hit. Ray Knight, base hit. Big hit by Hernandez. It's early, folks. Don't panic. Yes.
And I am excited. Those of you that know me, I have a copy of the 86 World Series DVD. The Game 6 one has been worn out. I try to watch it from time to time to the good old days. But it'd be nice to, you wonder a little bit because it feels like until the Mets get that next World Series championship ring, all those 86 guys are going to always be on the hook. Like they'll always be what they were. But I feel like they can maybe go, okay, it's when hopefully the 2024 Mets take home that World Series championship, can take a little bit off those guys' shoulders because I'm sure they're tired of answering the same questions for 30-something years now. Yeah,
it's amazing. I can't remember what I had for breakfast last week. But they have to remember in detail something happened in '86. I'll tell you something. I know, and then I got to jump off and make that call we talked about. I am still gut punched, disgusted with the 2015 Mets losing the World Series. That Royal team was a far inferior team, and people, in the chat section, I don't want to hear about the war. I don't want to hear about. Well, the Mets had all the momentum in the world. The Royals came in and just kicked our butts. I'm still upset about that.
Yes.
I'm just look, but all flowers to the Royals, man. They took it. They took it from the Mets.
Yes.
I don't want that to happen now. I don't want to beat the Yankees.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
That's all I ask. Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah, so continue. I'll be continuing to watch this game. Anyone watching wants to send me a message, I'll be watching the rest of this thing. So we do have to jump off here on the live. Just want to give you a quick heads up on what's to come. Here shortly in the next day or two, we'll be releasing a recording with Brian Boyd talking all things Houston Astros. That is on the way. We also have a live podcast. We were invited out to the Fear Reach Screen Park in Tavares, Florida. Had an outstanding time.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yes, we got to film inside all three houses. Phenomenal. Eileen screamed 150,000 times. It was awesome. Had a great time. So we'll be releasing that. And then 1 week from tonight, we'll have it live at 8 o'clock. Those of you NFL fans will be back with talking about with the Commanders, the Washington Commanders. We'll be talking all things that team that's currently sitting at 4-2. So Brian Anderson will be on with us for that. So with that said, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Continue to hit that like and share with as many people as possible, as we're going to, I'm speaking into existence by the end of 2024, going to hit the goal of 1,500 subscribers, sitting at 1,208 right now. We will hit 1,500 by the end of the year. Thank you all. Thank you, Christopher Bennett, National Tax Solutions. And until next time, everybody, we'll see you around the ballpark.